You're in. Okay, I saw you. You're in. All right.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. We wanted to provide a report on the extreme weather that came through Louisville and Jefferson County last evening, some of the activities that we've been doing through the night that we're going to continue to do, and provide other information to the public. First, I'm very thankful to still be able to report this morning that there are no major injuries that we are aware of that happened as a result of the extreme weather that hit Louisville last night. Last night showed the great collaboration that exists in our community. So many different public agencies working together to help people who were in need, who had been affected by this extreme weather. I first want to thank the Anchorage and Middletown Fire Department. Chief Grudy is here with us this morning. You will hear from us about some of the activities from him and his team in going door to door, surveying the damage, and being some of the first responders on the scene to check on everyone. Also want to thank the city of Prospect. Was meeting last night in Hunting Creek with Mayor Farnsley, their chief of police, and want to thank the police department in Prospect and everyone in Mayor Farnsley administration for their efforts. They are not with us this morning because they are on the scene right now taking care of some business in Prospect as we speak. Also, everyone from Louisville Metro government. So many different parts of our city government were hard at work last night, before the storm hit, immediately after the storm hit, and continued to work through the night. A special thanks to our public works crews. We literally are working through the night to clear roads, to ensure that everyone has safe access, and that we're doing what we need to do to get everyone back and mobilizing. And same to our emergency services as well for their efforts both before and after the storm. We've been collaborating closely with the state. Governor Beshear's office and us were in very close contact through the night last night. We continue to be. I appreciate Governor Beshear sending some folks from the state forestry team that were helping to clear some of the damages given how many trees were down. That will expand throughout the day as well. And other elected officials that we've been in close communication with, that we've been coordinating with as well. We're joined this morning by Representative Ken Fleming, who represents this area of the state House of Representatives. You'll hear from Representative Fleming shortly. I'm in touch with Senator Tishner, whose district the bulk of the damage was in. Metro Councilman Scott Reed as well in his district. We're joined here this morning by Robin Taylor from Senator McConnell's office, have been in close touch with Senator Paul's office, and also Congressman McGarvey and his team, all of us working together. Last night, my team and I went out to Hunting Creek to survey some of the damage after we had our press conference with Chief Grudy at his fire station, and just wanted to convey some of my observations from what I saw on the ground in Hunting Creek, in some of the neighborhoods that were most affected. Of course, there were significant number of trees that were down, large trees that were down in many different areas, and we'll know more as daylight has now come this morning. Wires down, and we'll talk more about that in a second, but it's so important to stay away from any down wires. There was a significant amount of wires that were down on roadways in Hunting Creek last night. And of course, there was unfortunately some very significant damage to various houses that we saw. But what my biggest observation seeing was how communities come together when people are in need. Neighbors helping neighbor. In just a few short minutes and hours after the storm passed, to see the activity of neighbors that were helping the two most impacted houses on a particular street, helping them with what they needed to start the cleanup efforts. In the dark of night, with power off in the entire neighborhood, neighbors and families coming together to help one another. That is reflective of the collaboration between all of the elected officials that we've been in touch with, between all of the public agencies who are involved in this, and it extends with the neighbors as well. And once again, makes me so proud, not just to be mayor of Louisville, but to be a Louisvillian, to see citizens coming together to help others when they are in need. The damage was concentrated in the Prospect area. We are unaware at this point of any other material damage throughout Jefferson County. It's mostly in the Prospect neighborhood, as we talked about last night, where the storm came across the Beachland Beach area and then through the Hunting Creek neighborhood. And Chief Grudy will talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Last night, as I mentioned, since our last time that we were together, I have declared a state of emergency for all of Jefferson County. That is to help with our cleanup services. The purpose of declaring the state of emergency was that the city government and any public agencies could immediately access, purchase, rent, whatever equipment and services we need to restore public health and safety as soon as possible. And so that was the reason for declaring the state of emergency. Public health and safety is our absolute priority every day. And particularly after severe weather and emergencies like this, we want to be able to act quickly and decisively. In terms of power, I know those who are impacted, certainly that's a big question this morning for them, even if they did not suffer any damage. Everyone wants to get their power back on. So I want to thank LG&E and all of their colleagues. We've been speaking with their CEO, John Crockett, but so many folks from LG&E are hard at work, working through the night. Some updates from LG&E with lots of downed trees. There were over 40 broken utility poles that LG&E has reported to date. At the peak, there were just over 7,500 or 7,500 customers without power. They had restored nearly 5,000 of those customers by midnight last night. As of 9:01 this morning, LG&E is reporting that 1,400 customers are still without power. So the number continues to go down. And LG&E also believes that most people without power should have their power restored by 10 p.m. this evening. Again, most people without power should have their power restored by 10 p.m. this evening. LG&E will continue to provide updates. The best place is to check the LG&E KU outage map that they will continue to update on as detailed a basis as possible. One other thing I want to note is that right now there are over 100 LG&E line technicians responding to this event that are out in the field working right now. It just so happens that April 18th is National Linesman Day. And I just want to give a special thanks to all of the work that the linesmen do every day, not just after severe weather events like we just experienced last night in Louisville, but that they do every day. Thank you so much for literally keeping the lights on for all of us here in Louisville. In terms of down power lines, I do want to remind everyone to please, if you see down power lines, and there still are some throughout the city, stay away, be careful. They might still have electricity running through them and can be very dangerous. Please report them immediately, and we will get to them if we are not already aware of them. Similarly, if you see down power lines entangled with trees, don't try to be the hero with the chainsaw on that particular tree. You need to let professionals deal with that to ensure that the power lines do not have power in them. Let the professionals handle those particular incidents. I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning, but there are still 2 intersections that are still out throughout Louisville. Again, we are aware of only 2 intersections that are currently not functioning with the streetlights this morning. Those are at the intersections of US 42 and Covered Bridge Road and US 42 and Hunting Creek. There are stop signs there, but everything else, to our knowledge, is working at this time. I mentioned last night that some members of the Louisville Fire Department, PRP, and Fern Creek went to help out in Henry County. Those folks are back now. They had the assistance that they needed, but again, we want to be able to provide help when we can. I do want to encourage everyone to please avoid the Prospect neighborhoods today if you do not need to be there. We have a significant law enforcement presence in the area. They will continue to stay in the area throughout the recovery efforts. And we have a lot of crews that are working hard to help everyone get back up and running. And so please, if you do not need to be in the Prospect neighborhood, please avoid that area. Also, I want to encourage everyone to sign up for Lens Alert. That is the best way to be alerted about severe weather or other extreme events that are happening throughout our city. We are very fortunate, again, that we have no major injuries from this event, and I think that is because people heeded the warnings, and one great way to stay in touch with all the warnings is through Lens Alert. That's our city alert system. anyone can text 67283. 67283, and your phone will be signed up for emergency notifications. So please sign up for Lens Alert if you have not already. Steve Cunanan from the Red Cross is going to talk about some of what they have been doing overnight. And the one final thing that I want to hit on is if you have damage, whether you have tree damage in your home, whether you have damage to your house, please be very careful and do everything possible to avoid scams. Unfortunately, there are some folks who seek to prey on what they believe are opportunities following severe weather like we just had in our city. So it's important to be very careful when individuals are coming to you and telling you that they can help you clear your trees, help you with your house. If you think that you might be the victim of a scam or a scam might be started, please report that to Attorney General Russell Coleman's office by visiting ag.ky.gov/scams. And if you have damage to your home, here is what we encourage you to do to avoid being taken advantage of. First, contact your insurance company, the company that's providing you with home insurance for your home, and follow their instructions and lead. Research the contractors that are saying that they can help you. You can go online, find out information, check the Better Business Bureau, and get more than one estimate. The tree is down. I know you want it gone as soon as possible, but we also do not want you to be taken advantage of. Please get more than one estimate and check on the contractors that are reaching out to help. If you feel that somebody is giving you high pressure sales tactics that is saying, we've got to do this right now, that is an alarm bell that should be going off in your head. Resist high pressure sales tactics. Also beware of contractors who claim to be FEMA certified or represent FEMA from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. If anyone is saying that they are representing FEMA, odds are that they might be part of a scam. And do not pay a contractor or other businesses upfront in cash for their services. That is another red flag. And finally, do not sign insurance checks over to a contractor. Deal with your insurance company and follow their lead. So again, we want everyone to get back to normal as soon as possible if they have been impacted, but we also do not want anyone to be taken advantage of. So those are some of the updates this morning from Louisville Metro Government. I'm now going to turn it over to the Chief of the Anchorage Middletown Fire Department, Chief Grudy. And again, I want to thank Chief Grudy and his entire team for their efforts and all of the first responders who have done such a wonderful job responding to this extreme weather event. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of brief updates from last night. Last night, our primary mission was just to do a rapid assessment of the area and actually perform a rapid search. So, like a little after midnight last night, we had completed the primary search and rapid search for that area. In addition to that, we were also able to get some of the surface streets opened up. We got our chainsaws out, and we actually assembled a number of cutting crews with the help of LG&E, and we went and actually cut trees down and opened up a lot of surface streets. In the process of the rapid search last night, we were able to touch 1,133 structures. And on like a damage assessment scale of, let's say, 1 to 5, 1 being the least and 5 being the worst, of that number, 954 were unaffected. 59 had some slight effects. 38 had some minor structural damage. 37 had some major structural damage, and there was only 5 that were totally destroyed. We made contact with right around 100 residents, and they were all fine. They didn't need help. They didn't need shelter, and those kind of things. We did come across 22 residents that had some minor injuries, but they did not require any type of medical treatment. So our main objective today is to go back and complete our secondary search of only the structures that were damaged, just so we don't miss anything or anyone. So That is where we are today. And I'd like to thank all of our crews for their hard work and dedication last night. And, they'll be on a job all day today, obviously. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Another one of our great partners after following emergencies in our community and around the state is the Red Cross. And fortunately, as you'll hear, the Red Cross did not have to be that active on this, but they were prepared, they were ready, and they were on scene moments after these events took place. And so for an update from the Red Cross, we now would like to introduce our great partner, the CEO of the Red Cross here in Louisville, Steve Cunanan. Steve?
Good morning, everybody. As the mayor said, we were out last night in a series of locations supporting the folks that were affected by this storm. We were in the Emergency Operations Center. We were also stationed in the State Emergency Operations Center. We did have one emergency shelter on standby with a partner, which we did not open up in the area. We are continuing to keep that shelter on standby, and if that is needed, we will go ahead and open it. Today, we are focusing on damage assessment. So our teams are out in the area. They will be assessing individual homes. They will be talking to residents, and they will be facilitating the recovery process. I want to go ahead and emphasize to everybody again, if you cannot stay in your home and your home has been damaged, please call 1-800-RED-CROSS, and we will go ahead and facilitate the process to get you where you need to be. Again, that's 1-800-RED-CROSS. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Steve. And finally, just to reiterate some of the collaboration that's been going on across government agencies and elected officials. We're joined here this morning by Representative Ken Fleming, who represents in the State House of Representatives this area of Prospect that has been most severely damaged by the extreme weather. Ken's been out early this morning surveying damage of his neighborhood and checking on his constituents. And just as we're working with elected officials in the state Senate and House, as I mentioned, we're also working very closely with Governor Beshear and his administration. Governor Beshear will be here this afternoon surveying the damage in our neighborhoods as well. So without further ado, another great partner of ours, Representative Ken Fleming.
Thank you all very much. I just wanted to reiterate and point out the collaboration and cooperation of the various agencies, and particularly with the mayor's office and his team. He's been spot on and very responsive in terms of making sure that people are being taken care of, individuals are being responded. And I also want to thank the first responders, particularly the mayor of Farnsley, who I started talking to him right after the storm went through, as well. I was talking about 15 to 20 of the neighbors within Hunting Creek as the storm was going through to find out what they need and how we might help them out and so forth. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much for everything that the Metro government is going through, the mayor of Prospect and the chief of the fire department, and in terms of making this happen. My wife went through a 74 tornado. I was involved in the tornado when it came through. When I was first on Metro Council back in the early 2000s in Graymore, and then now this. So it's a really great example. It really makes me appreciate and value the collaboration and cooperation of everybody, no matter where they come from, in terms of pulling together to help each other out in order to make sure we get our feet back on the ground. So I want to thank y'all very much. And then, as the mayor mentioned, in terms of scams, in terms of reaching out, in terms of Steve, the American Cross, please take their advice to heart. It's really, really good advice, and we are here to help y'all out. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much, Representative Fleming. I think that's a great note for our formal remarks to end on, is everybody working together, whether it's elected officials and public agencies, or whether it's neighbors helping neighborhoods in the Prospect neighborhood this morning and last evening. We are one Louisville. We care about each other. We're here to help, and we are going to continue helping until every resident is back on their feet, has addressed the damage that they suffered as a result of the storms last night. Oh, wait, but I forgot probably who you want to hear from the most. One last person. I did not mean to overlook you, Mike. There, you're sitting there, and Mike, Mike Kochasik from the National Weather Service is here. I've purposely avoided talking about the details regarding the storm because I did not want to steal Mike's thunder, pun intended. So without further ado, Mike Kochasik from the National Weather Service. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Mayor. So yesterday, the National Weather Service was working around the clock to monitor 2 different rounds of severe weather. The first one came through in the mid-morning hours, and then the second one that did the damage in Prospect and surrounding communities came through shortly after 5:30 p.m. yesterday. It first touched down in Jeffersonville, Indiana, across the river, and then went to Utica and did some damage in Prospect, and then across Oldham and Henry counties. So far, the survey team's been out working around the clock yesterday and this morning. They have initial damage of EF1, 105 miles per hour in Indiana, at least EF1. It might be stronger as we survey and continue on through the rest of the day. So we're so thankful that a lot of folks got the warning and there was only minor injuries reported so far. But if you have any damage or video of the tornado, please feel free to share that with the National Weather Service on Facebook or on Twitter, X. We're at NWS Louisville, and we'd love to have your pictures and reports of the storm. He might look like a scammer, but he's not. John Gordon and his team is out surveying today. So he might stop by and want to talk to you and hear your stories and see your damage. So we'd love to hear from you, and please share what you had happen to you yesterday. And one final thing I'll say is severe weather season is young. We already mentioned that April 3rd, 1974 to the day, today, 50 years ago that this happened. And here we are again. So Louisville has a rich history of tornadoes and damage. And it's so important to have multiple ways to receive warnings. It's so important to stay weather aware, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, during the afternoon commute like yesterday, or even at night. So if you lose power, think about the plans that you have. How will you get those warnings? Cell phones, make sure they're charged up, have no weather radio that's battery operated, things like that. But have a plan in place for your family and friends and multiple ways to receive those warnings. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mike, and to everyone who helped provide updates this morning. And with that, all of us are happy to take a few questions from the media if you all have any. Yes.
For like PA from FEMA?
We are not aware of any public infrastructure that's been damaged at this time. The outages with respect to some of our street lights and poles, but other than that, we're not aware of any. Yeah.
I hate to ask Mike to say that because I
Okay.
your situation. The tornado that you referenced at EF1 status at this point, are you believing this was a long track tornado, or are you thinking it was up and down, or on the ground the entire time?
That's a great question. That's going to depend on the survey today that we find. I'll say on radar, it looked very consistent. It was the same parent thunderstorm that tracked through these communities and the counties. We have seen certainly bouncing tornadoes in the past, and it's certainly possible today too, but we just don't know yet.
Mike, what's the total number of confirmed tornadoes as of this morning in your all's area?
Sure. So we had one tornado by video near Corridon yesterday. It circulated on Twitter yesterday quite a bit. A very short-lived 12-second tornado that did some damage there. That's one. There was another one in Nelson County, EF1, 95 miles per hour. There was another one in Anderson County, EF1, 90 miles per hour. There's one that happened in Jessamine County, too, near Nicholasville. We don't have a rating on that yet. The survey continues.
So 4 confirmed as of now.
Correct.
Not including what may have happened here.
Correct.
It was mentioned that there were 5 structures totally destroyed. Do you all know if this, was that a house, a barn, or what were those structures that were totally destroyed?
I believe there were residences. I don't have that information specifically. We just have the data off of the tracking points that we use right now.
And those numbers, all the structures that you mentioned that had damage or destroyed, they were all in mostly homes? Can we say that?
Well, we touched everything, which includes commercial. And like I said, the data points I have only shows numbers. It doesn't show what type of structure. Okay. But I mean, we're still breaking down all that data. I mean, it's like actually gobs of it. So at the end of the day, we may have all that data broken down individually, whether it's actually commercial or residential.
Yeah, Carl.
Thank you for your immediate response to everybody last night. Real quick, did you already cover, is the picture of the tornado in Prospect over the Republic Bank confirmed as a tornado?
No, we have not confirmed, National Weather Service has not confirmed a tornado yet for Jefferson County.
Thank you.
Mike, can you spell your last name for us? Please.
Kochas as in Sierra, IC, Kochasic.
All right, well, thank you all very much. We are going to let everyone get back to the recovery efforts. We will continue to keep you all with updates throughout the day and in the days ahead. We will continue to work with everyone to provide the help and resources that they need to get back going full steam ahead. Thank you all very much.
We'll take just like a 5-minute break and then we'll start our 10 o'clock press conference for the 50th anniversary of the 1974 tornado.